What is up, besties? I'm Jenna.
And I'm Marissa.
And welcome to our first episode, Crazy as a Mother podcast.
Where life happens.
Best friends help.
And coffee most certainly doesn't hurt. So for the first episode, we would really like to dive into like an intro of who we are, how we became friends, and all that goodness.
If you even want to sit and listen to our podcast, you probably should know who you're listening to.
Yes. Besties for life.
So we met when we were, I think, 12 and 13. We were seventh grade or 8th grade?
Something like that.
Some point in grade school. And we instantly clicked right off the rip. We remained besties. We've been besties since then.
Yeah.
We went from going through the stages of our parents worrying about us to them being completely shocked that we had made it this long. We've been through a lot together, and
just like growing up, the whole fun rebelling.
Which there's plenty of time and episodes to get into that.
Yes, there is.
I am a full-time working mama. I am married with 3 boys. And one is 6 years old, and I have a set of twins. So it's very hectic and very messy in this house all the time.
And 3 boys. Did you say that already?
I think I did, yeah. 3 boys. They are as boys come. So it's definitely interesting figuring out life, working with the kids. We'll get into where my one son has special needs. So, it's been such a journey learning through all that. But yeah, so needless to say, our days are always freaking just mayhem.
And I am married to my high school bestie. Shout out to Mike. I am, in quotations, a retired hairdresser. Hopefully I will go back into the beauty industry one day. But currently I'm a stay-at-home mother. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 8. I also have a set of twins. They just turned 6. And I have a crazy 2-year-old, going to be 3.
That's putting it lightly.
Yes, very lightly. My son also... so I have 2 boys and 2 girls. My twins are boy-girl twins. My son, my one twin, Michael, he has autism. So that's something we'll get into shortly. My youngest is also literally a month exactly younger than Jenna's twins. So
3 2-year-olds.
Yes.
When they're together.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's mayhem. When we have all the kids together, 7 kids, it is like it is
better than any sex ed you can learn junior year of high school.
So crazy.
Let me just tell you that.
They're boys too. So they're like, boys are just crazier than girls, I feel like.
Yeah, yesterday they were all together, punching each other, pushing each other. They were wild.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, it's just, if you have boys, you understand.
And even being with our youngest, they're a month apart, so Jen and I were pregnant together, and we were able to just experience that. Like, it was so cool to be pregnant with your best friend and, like, sharing. Oh, my gosh, like,
it's the things Instagram are made of.
And, like, oh, my God, are you craving, like, pickles with chocolate? Like, just, I never did. But I'm just saying, like, there's weird pregnancy things that you go through.
Going from that to being so hormonal, like, I'm about to burn this house down.
Yeah.
All the crazy ins and outs in between. So all this stuff that our twins going through the process of getting like acquainted in the autism world, and even as far as like as losses and grief, all this stuff we had so much of it go on together, like both that happened in both our lives, that like I really don't know how I would have got through a lot without having, not only is it my best friend, but my best friend who literally is walking the same path for most, I think for everything, walking the same path first.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, some of the situations are very tough, but it's very remarkable and just comforting to be 100%. Able to open up and have someone that can specifically relate to what you're going through.
Yeah, and not even just like the stages and like the event of what it is, but like those crazy. I don't like to use the word crazy because if you feel how you feel, then it's how you feel. So I don't want to use the word crazy, but you get my point. Is there's
passionate.
Yeah, those thoughts and those feelings that come with those events, right? Like when you find, like when we talk about finding out when our kids were diagnosed, or like the realization that we were going to be taking care of 2 infants at once.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
oh gosh,
yeah. It
I remember when I called you and I'm like, "Are you pregnant?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What do you have?" And you're like, "Which one?" And I'm like, "Are you having twins?" And you're like, "I literally just found out. I was getting ready to call you." And you're like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "Jenna, I'm pregnant too." I was like 4 weeks and you were 8 weeks.
It was the sappiest moment. It was very exciting to find that out. I'll never forget. Once we get more into kids, I'll never forget. I don't know if you ever had to tell your husband or significant other that you're having twins when they weren't expecting having twins.
Oh my God.
What a sight to behold.
Mike and I were together when we found out. And his face, like his whole jaw was just like, what?
She actually, shout out to the tech at Holy Redeemer, because she asked, they asked like when your last menstrual cycle was and the last time,
all the girly stuff.
All the stuff they need to know, the exact, when everything started. So when she did that, I actually had, Justin was in the room and my little guy, he was 3 at the time, because it'd be cool, like, so you could see his little brother. So she's asking, she's like, when, did you say your last cycle was, and all this stuff. And then she asked the 2 boys to step outside, which I'm like, well, what the heck? She's like, I just have to check something. Like, I don't want, you'd be more comfortable. So here, when she was doing it, she thought she saw two embryos. And she wanted to double check some stuff. And she's like, yeah, the reason your dates aren't lining up, because she kept asking me, she's like, are you sure?
Were
that's
they
a date?
Apart too? Like their due dates? Because my twins were always like
yes,
a week apart.
They were 2 days apart. My God. Baby A was due September 23rd, and baby B, who is Travis, baby A is Wyatt, baby B was due September 25th.
Okay.
When we walked out, that was the due date. At that point, we were only, we were like 8 and 9 weeks, or whatever the differences they were, between 8 and 9 weeks. So then she's like, you'd be really surprised how uncooperative or not happy significant others can be when you find out it's twins, which is why when she thought she saw 2, she asked Justin to step out of the room, just to make sure, like, God forbid he acted not happy, that everything was okay. So, but on the fun side, she got to witness, and she said she was so excited for me to tell Justin that we were having twins. She's like, oh, I can't wait to see his
Mike
face.
was just like, because we already had a girl, Mike's like, I just hope one of them's a boy. That's all he said.
Justin turned the color of eggshell. Like, the only other time I've seen him so pale was when I told him that we were pregnant with Dalton, because we had no intention of getting married, let alone having a baby at the time. And I thought I'd never see him turn that shade again. And then you found out we were having 2 at once, and I'm like, oh boy.
He's like, oh yeah, just another baby. It's okay.
I know. We were just like, what a world rock. But anyway, all these things that when we talk every day, we share like the hardships every day. We laugh about everything, and I forget how long ago, maybe pushing a year, the concept of a podcast came up.
Yes. And
it was just a thought that was tossed around, but that was kind of stated a thought. And then roller coaster happened. Life kind of got in the way, and it kind of got pushed back. And when TikTok became big-ish, I guess 6 months ago, when you could see people really taking off our age, Justin was actually like, you and Marissa should TikTok. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be shaking my butt trying to learn on these.
I don't even know how to use TikTok.
Yeah.
Just to show my age.
So
I'm 31.
TikTok didn't really appeal to us, but when we revisited the podcast thing, and it just, I don't know, things just work out. Timing is right in life. It's just something I think we're really, really on the bandwagon now to do. So it just, it just took a little more time than planned. But, this is the whole, there's so many reasons that, me and Marissa lean on each other for things that we're like, there's
we want to be able to share that with others.
Yeah.
Or,
we can't be the only people going through all this stuff.
like, just to help other moms out there, like, you know, first time becoming a mom, or you just found out you're having twins or triplets, God bless you, if you're having more than twins.
Jesus, you're saying.
Like, I mean, just really navigating motherhood and, like, going right in it. It is, what is that one saying? It's like the best hood, but it's the hardest hood.
Yeah.
Like, motherhood is a journey. Right from the start, you have to change everything about the way you're living, what you're eating, what you're drinking, your caffeine intake.
They are so needy off the rip before they even get Earthside.
Vitamins, like, all it, like, you change so much of your daily activities. Like, even for me, like, for the twins and Finnegan, I had very rough start, so I was put on bed rest the first trimester because of spotting. So it's like, if you're dealing with that kind of hardship, and being married, especially for our generation, like, we both got married on the younger side. I was engaged by 22 and married by 24, and
I
it's
think
not very common nowadays, I feel like, for that.
And I know that the ages, I know sometimes when I say I got married young, people are like, oh, it doesn't sound young. But I mean, I think I can speak for Marissa too. We were very much maturely young, I think, until life kind of had to shape us up. But, you know, we live certain lifestyles, and I don't know if, like, even being in my mid-20s, I 100% wasn't ready to have a baby. So I know I was mentally young.
I feel like, well, for me, because I lost my dad at 21, so I went through a tragic event at such a young age. I think Evelyn helped. She was like the light that I needed to help me get out of that. But also, speaking of my oldest, like, we want to connect with other moms and parents in general. Just if you're shaming yourself, having that, I call it mom guilt, but parent guilt, because I know dads have it as well. And even I feel like there's a lot of parent shaming, just like with everyone parents their child differently. So maneuvering that whole aspect of life, because being a parent is already as hard as it is. And really just holding the safe space, a non-judgmental space for us to chit-chat, you guys to listen and relate and feel comfortable and come along for the ride. Yeah, motherhood and being a wife.
And I know for me, the biggest thing that I struggle with too, that me and Marissa talk about literally almost every day, is like all types of media and societal pressures that come with being a mom. Like, there's so many different social media outlets. There's the Pinterest ideas. I see these TikTok moms, these beautiful TikTok moms, and I think a lot for me anyway, and for me, Marissa, I think sometimes it doesn't always, you don't even realize what you're internally saying to yourself while you're seeing these certain things. At least I know for me. It's not like an actual dialogue is happening in my head where it's like, oh my God, you need to be better, you need to do this, you need to do that. But when it comes time to look in the mirror, or it comes time to like accept like the outfit I'm wearing or how my hair is, then it's just like, oh no, this is unacceptable. So at least I think for me and Marissa, and I'm sure a lot of other people, those types of influences really negatively, like almost instantly, mentally,
it's like self-sabotaging.
Yeah, it's just one more thing to self-sabotage about. And I know I do it a lot, and mostly for me is body image. I've never been a small chick, and I can remember at a young age starting to carry those shameful thoughts about my body. And you know, I don't know if it's the natural hormones that come when after having kids, or like you're physically just watching your body morph, which is at the time so beautiful, like when you're pregnant and stuff. And but as they come and like you're trying to bounce back, oh, big mama don't bounce back like she used to. Like, she just don't do it. But still, like, even consciously knowing that it's okay, it's like something tells me inside that it's not okay.
Well, I think too, with talking about how you brought up like Pinterest, Instagram, like you see some of these moms that they are able, like, God bless their souls for those mothers, like the women that can bounce back, especially after having twins. Yeah. Like your body, I always joke around, I'm like, I was tore up from the floor up after I had the twins. Like, my hips don't lie now, baby.
Nothing will ever be the same. Just come to accept it.
But I think that, like, it's like, even if you're not vocalizing it or necessarily, like, what would be the right way to say it? Like, it's like yourself, like, subconsciously taking it in, and then you start thinking, like, these negative thoughts. And I know for me, like, I've noticed I do that because then all of a sudden I'll become moody or I'll get angry. And I'm like, well, why am I really upset?
Yeah.
Am I upset because something happened, or am I upset because I'm, like, degrading myself internally because society makes me feel like I should look like this, or my house should be kept up like this, or I should have the perfect 5-course meal out for my husband, which, does it happen on occasion? Sure. Of course, but not as often as I would like, or not as often as society makes me feel is acceptable.
Yeah. And I think what's even more on top of that goes to is we can't control any of it as much as, like, you know, you can hope and pray and whatever things. It's just some things you have to accept that are out of your control, and that's okay. So, like, I think the trick is that I haven't quite figured out yet is rising above it. Is you have to rise above it somehow. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? It's tough. So that's just, I don't know, something that I feel really passionate about, because it's something that all the false standards I hold myself to by the stuff I take in, I do it all the freaking time, all the time. And then with that comes security in yourself. For me, it comes security in myself. Like, I'll get to the point where I, like, don't even want to engage physically, you know, or be intimate, like, because I'm so unaccepting of what I've been given that I find it not good enough. And because of that, I shut down and like, I don't want to do these things that are quite okay, you know? Yeah. It's not like Justin ever walked around and told me, like, don't take your shirt off or, like, do things like that. But it's just,
you're like, don't look at me.
Yeah. It's just all those pre-notion, you know, things that we've taken in along the way, and have just allowed ourselves to take notes on. So when the time comes, we whip them out like, oh, no. You know, in this Pinterest video, we saw this, and this isn't up to that standard, so that must not be good enough.
And I think that ties in perfect, too, with another, like, passionate purpose for our podcast would be to really openly talk about mental health and how this can affect your mental health, and, like, with motherhood, postpartum depression, anxiety, panic disorder, depression in general. I will touch base on how I lost my father in a traumatic way when I was 21, and that had created PTSD for me. And I feel like these are very, very, very passionate areas in our life that Jen and I talk about on a daily basis. Yeah. And I feel like one or two ways with mental health. Like, one, like, people will post the memes and, like, joke about it and try to make it acceptable in, like, a funny manner, or they can be like how I was up until 4 years ago, and I didn't talk about it, and I held it in until I was at a very, very just, like, dark place for myself. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm like the panic disorder, like, anxiety butterfly. Like, I'm like throwing glitter, like, it's okay to talk about it. Like, just love yourself. It's okay. Don't shame yourself for being that way, because I feel like people, like, at least for me, like, I associated a lot of shame for being this way. Like, why am I so anxious? Why do I have panic disorder? Yeah. Why am I getting so sad? Like, and I was too embarrassed to talk about it. Yeah. And no one should feel that way. Like, no one at all.
No, and especially because it literally takes people's lives, and specifically to what we talk about, it takes women's lives. Yep. You know, for some reason that heavy demand we put on ourselves, that when we fall short, we must be terrible mothers, or like our babies must be better off with someone else, and it's terrible because women are freaking incredible, and
hey. I'm doing like a side work in my chair. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like this incredible woman over here. You didn't even get my damn sentence out.
Sorry.
I forgot what I was saying.
Women are incredible.
Oh yeah, women are incredible. Oh yeah. And it's, you know, of all the amazing things we do, to think that we're not worthy to be here is just shitty. So I know for us, the more we talk about it and we feel less alone, the better we feel, and the more hope we have.
Key. Community is key.
Absolutely. That's what got through with all the other, like, Marissa touched about, like, losing people and stuff. That is key, baby. Community is key. And that is what we were aiming for here, that you guys, just listen in and, feel like you're not alone. If nothing else, if you're not the biggest fan of our voices or how we do this, just as long as you know that you're not alone, then we're doing something right here.
Yes.
And just we want to keep finding the joy in life. We want to keep those whys at the top of our list, and keep that above, because I feel like it's great when we say we can do this podcast. We can talk about all the amazing, beautiful things in life and women empowerment and let's go, girls. But then this is only a certain amount of time.
And staying humble.
Yes.
Having grace with yourself. Listen, you're probably going to fall short at some point. Like, I have 4 kids. We're all going to fall short. We're not going to make it to the standards that we like. We're not going to check every freaking check mark off on our to-do list.
Yep.
And that is okay. Like, finding the grace, staying humble, still being confident and loving your life, and persevering through it all.
Yep. And as you're going to figure out soon, sometimes you just got to joke it off, man. You have to joke it off. You have to be okay in a realization that this is what it is. Laughing always helps. I've never felt like shit after a good 5-minute belly laugh. So I don't think anybody has felt like crap after something like that. And we hope you do that too with us. And just know there's us. There's people all around. Like, find, like Marissa was saying, community. Like, find those things on Facebook. Like, find them women. And just make sure you get yourself with people that know exactly what you're going through. So in them darkest days where the phone feels heavy, or something like that, like, you got a sense of community. So that is what we're hoping to do here. And if you don't have that, if you don't have a Marissa to me, to my Jenna, which I'm very sorry if you don't, then just come be with us.
Yeah.
Come be with us and talk about it with us.
We're here with open arms. We do not judge. There's no judging up in this zone. Okay.
Complaining fitness.
I was just gonna say. We like P-Fit.
Judgment free, baby.
I mean, I'm just saying, because it's so hard for people to be their authentic selves, because they're either like, I know I suffered with this, like, am I too much? Like, am I too loud? Or am I this? Or am I that? And it's great to have just that supportive person. Yeah. Or community or people or spouse. Like, I'm so blessed that I can be my authentic, crazy self with my husband, and he is just as crazy as I am. So we're like two peas in a pod. But listen, if you do not have that support system, we would love to be there for you and be that support system for you, because life is already hard as it is, and just surround yourself with that, as much happiness as you can. Yeah, you surround yourself with, like, as the old saying goes. So just stay tight with us and you'll be all right. You might turn out a little more crazier, but I think you're going to be okay. Just a little. I mean, probably a whole lot.
But to touch back real quick on what Marissa was saying, like she says, like, is she good enough? Is she this? Is she that? A little fun fact is we already recorded a first episode before this. Yes. We did it yesterday, but we literally just tore it apart. Well, no. I shouldn't say it. We tore ourselves apart.
Yes, we both had, like, anxiety all night about it.
Yeah, this isn't good enough. Are people going to like this? Like, literally all the stuff we literally just got done saying not to worry about, we did it last night. We ripped it apart, so here we are re-recording. So, what's crazy?
Fun fact.
It's powerful stuff, man. So it's why it's just so important to talk about before you let it take over yourself. We are going to try some fun segments, I think. We're going to give them a go and see how they work.
Yes, for some fun things to look forward to is our oh damn moments. They are going to be funny yet stressful.
Funny AF, baby.
And hair pulling, heart-stopping, jaw-dropping
It's like a James Bond movie.
events that have happened with your kids. So if you have kiddos, especially
not if you don't have kids,
toddlers,
if you got a good like OS moment that stopped you in your tracks,
or
share it,
animals,
please.
if you have pets, we all know pets do some crazy business too. But the whole day moments are going to basically be when,
I love
like,
it.
seriously, it's like a show-stopping moment. Whether it's completely hysterical or you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to do this anymore. But, you know, it's life and you do it.
Another one we're going to do that we're going to try, I think we should stick with this, is an attitude of gratitude, baby.
Yes,
definitely. It is the
definitely.
segment to keep our heads out of our asses.
Yep.
And to realize how good we have it, and it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, and it helps you to refocus too. Like I literally do a gratitude list almost daily.
Yeah.
I try to at least. So then you can still focus on good things that have happened throughout your day.
And to be honest, if you can't be sincerely grateful for whatever the hell you're writing on your list, at least for that 3 minutes it took you to write it, you weren't being an egomaniac. So
yeah.
At the very least, you get a break from your ego for those few minutes.
Yes. And then we're going to have odd news.
I can't believe some of the shit that makes headlines. I get mine effed about the things that should make headlines but don't, and then after I'm reading some of these headlines, I'm like, who is in charge of this?
The odd news is we're going to talk about, literally, like Jenna just said, just these obnoxious stories that are worldwide. And it's just like, you're just going to be mind blown because some of the things that are out there are really like,
I can't believe some of this stuff people do.
Did this really happen?
And my favorite thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a dad joke, or what I have named it the John Cannon joke of the day. My father, who just recently passed, he is notorious for his horrific jokes. So much so that at work and the places he volunteered, they all became known as John Cannon jokes.
Yeah, dude, they were the funniest jokes ever. I remember she just rolled her eyes at me when we were younger. He used to be like, she's my favorite friend. She laughs at all my jokes. And you'd be like, Riz, stop laughing.
It just encouraged him more. So we got to close it out. Because there's some funny stuff out there. I wish I was that witty. So we have all that stuff. We're going to try and see how it all works. This is going to be trial and error for a little bit, obviously. But we're just so freaking excited that it finally is happening. We got our stuff up and running.
Yes, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Crazy as a Mother Pod.
And we also are going to be posted on YouTube and Spotify. Search both of them. You just search Crazy as a Mother Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on.
I'm so excited for you guys to tune in. Let us know what you think.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't believe we finally did it. This is super, super awesome. But we love you guys so much.
Love you. And thanks for tuning in.
We will be releasing on Mondays, so we will be joining in on the crazy then. All right, guys, until next time.